if you are sitting around with your coworkers chatting, statistically, 4 out of 5 of them are going to tell you it's a bad time to buy a house. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're just going to have a little discussion, conversation about what is even going on in the real estate market. What are we seeing as real estate agents? Is it a good time to buy a house in Oregon or not? Maybe not. We're going to talk about that. Also, we'll touch on a little bit of like, who is buying? I mean, as real estate agents, who are we seeing buying and who does it make sense to buy? So.
And if you're new to this channel,
Yep.
My name's Spencer.
And I'm Mariah.
And this is Real Estate Mariah and Spence. We come up with new videos and content every week for you guys to view in and listen. So if you have not already, support this channel, press subscribe and like, and we'll see you week after week giving you real estate knowledge from the real estate professionals.
Yes, it's super important, especially right now, to know your stuff, to know what's going on. If you are a buyer, a seller, or even I know some of our viewers are other real estate agents in other markets, but mainly we just talk to the consumer, the person that's wanting to buy a house or that wants to be a homeowner. And I just think that the more you know, the more you watch videos like these, the better decisions you'll be able to make when it comes to real estate.
Knowledge.
Yeah.
Knowledge is power, guys. And there's so much resources out there right now, whether it's YouTube, Google, your office, your manager, your family members. There's always a place to turn. So these are key
But it's
things,
not all good
though.
advice.
Exactly. These are key things to know what we're saying to you guys today, because we are in this profession, we are in this industry, we are full-time real estate agents. We have a very successful team here in Oregon, and we would like to bring that knowledge to you guys so we are no longer in the dark.
Yes. Okay, so where do we even begin? This is a very loaded topic. There's a lot of different directions we could go. We're not just going to sit here and tell you you should buy a house right now.
So did you go from and say four out of 5 people?
Okay, so I said statistically, because basically 4 out of 5 people statistically being polled say that right now is a bad time to buy a house. Okay. And I think one of the reasons is the uncertainty. I was just saying earlier on a different YouTube channel that we have that you could literally listen to one real estate video about the housing market, if you're into watching those on YouTube, and be convinced that the housing market is crashing, we are in or entering into a recession, and you could watch a different video from a different reliable resource and hear the complete opposite or just something totally different. So there is so much noise out there, and there is a lot. It is a weird market. It's a very strange market, and we can talk about why. It's a weird market. It's not something we're used to seeing. Yeah. But I don't think that means that we need to just slap on this title of, doomsday, whatever. And I think that's one of the main reasons, though, why so many people think it's a bad time and are so hesitant. But there's a lot of factors involved.
I'm going to use a statement that Mariah uses, and use bad times to make good times. That's one of the things, though. Take advantage of a market where when everybody's saying it's bad, they says it's bad, turn around and make it a good thing for you, whether that's buying, whether that's wholesaling, whether that's downsizing. I see that being a big player right now. If you know somebody living in 2,000-3,000 square foot home, maybe they're single, getting older in age, and they've been wanting to downsize for quite some time, bring it up to them. Go be that person, because ultimately you can maybe buy that property from them or just refer us to them and we can help them out in a market like this. And if that's you looking to downsize, please feel free to reach out. I feel like this is one of those opportunities that the door is open and you can be taking advantage heavily right now in today's real estate market if that boot fits you.
Okay, so first let's talk about who should not buy right now and who should buy, and then we'll get into a little bit more of like what the heck is going on in the housing market.
Yeah, let's do that.
So who shouldn't buy? I would say someone in our position right now, which what I mean by that is we purchased our house going on 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago now. Yeah. Wow, at the end of the summer, it'll be 2 years.
That's wild.
And yeah, it went by really fast. The house that we're living in, and we as I'm sure every homeowner does, especially when you're also a realtor, it's very easy to look at what, everything you've done to the property and how much homes have appreciated and just think, let's jump ship and sell our house because of how much equity you have. But I don't think that's necessarily the best position for everybody who's in that position that bought maybe a year or 2 years ago, because what are you going to replace it with? Now, if a house came on the market that I wanted to buy and the numbers made sense, I will move tomorrow. So like I'm always open to moving and buying another house. However, just numbers speaking right now, I think for a lot of people in that situation, although it might be tempting to look at the numbers and just think, I could just pocket this much money, you have to remember you probably have a 3 or 4% interest rate, or maybe even lower. And you're not getting that right now. Your monthly payment's going to be so much higher. And so it really, just for that own sole reason. Now, if you're moving because you feel called to go to another state or different area, your job's changing, that's a different situation. But just for the sole reason of I could make this money right now, unless there's like I said, a specific house you just want or whatever, there's a reason. If there's no reason, it's going to probably be hard replacing that property.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the majority of homeowners here in America, especially. I mean, we've only lived in this place for 2 years, and yes, easily we can sell this and move on. But what's holding us tightly, and I mean this, like,
it's so hard to get rid of.
A collar is where we feel like we're enslaved to a house in a sense.
Yeah, it's
because
so
of that interest rate. When you're dealing with under 3% interest rate, it's hard to let go of. It's hard to refi it, to even buy another one out of your cash out refi. You know, it's just one of those things. It feels so good to have a low interest payment on your biggest investment, your asset that you live in as your home. It's your place. It's not an investment property. This is yours. So I feel like that's where a lot of Americans are at, and that's why we are seeing lower inventories. And it's that trade-off. Why would I sell in order to buy something likewise or similar but for more money than I'm currently in? It just doesn't add up for a lot of people.
I think this seriously could create a real issue of
the
housing market. What I think is going to happen, what we're already really starting to see as real estate agents, is not a lot of anything going on. Not a lot of people are buying, because what is the average payment right now?
Oh man, my lender was saying it was like $2,800 to $3,100.
That's for a average home. So that's for a, simple 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot home.
Your mortgage monthly on average $2,800 to $3,100. That's $3,100. That's 3 times 12. That's $36,000 a year for a mortgage on average.
For an average type of home. Okay, so that's the average payment. So a lot of people aren't buying, and then obviously so many people have these low, I shared this statistic a little bit ago on our show. I can't remember what it was, but it was a high number of home owners who have a interest rate between like 3 and 4%. A lot of people have that interest rate.
Yeah.
Because they either bought when the interest rates were low or they refinanced. And if they didn't, then that sucks for them. But a lot of people refinanced when interest rates were historically low, around 3%. And so my whole point in saying all of this is I really think this is, it already is creating a big issue, something we've really never seen before, because who is going to sell their house? Like we're just talking about, we don't want to sell because
our industry.
Our 3% interest rate, it's very difficult for people to make that decision to sell. And so because of that, there is such a lack of homes on the market. It's such low inventory that we have never seen before. And everyone has so much equity. So that's just a crazy thing that everyone's having to navigate. But some people are still moving as real estate agents. Yeah. So here's a little bit of just like insight from the real estate world. If you're not a realtor, you probably don't necessarily know that all this is going on. But
what we're doing right now, by the way, so the audience can be following, because I mean we might just be speaking in circles.
We're a little all over the place,
but what we're trying to do is create an image.
Yes, we're painting a picture.
The mentality of how sellers are thinking and operating. Yes. Because if you're a buyer out there, you need to know how people are feeling. Because ultimately, the psychology side of writing an offer or just knowing the emotional state of people is really important. And that's what I believe we're good at here at Vettrus Crawford Realty, is we understand the market, the economy, and we have the relationships to evolve, but ultimately get successful deals done for you. Yeah. And this is super knowledgeable for you guys to understand, is the psychology of where the economy's at in regards to real estate.
Yeah. So just to paint a little bit of a picture of where things are at for the real estate side of things as real estate agents. So we have just gone from obviously a crazy market the last many years where more homes were being sold, more exchanges of keys and titles, more home sales and purchases going on just in general than usual, like a crazy amount. So because of that, so many people getting their real estate license, getting into the business. So we were at this like all-time high of sales happening, and we were at an all-time high of realtors. Everyone knows like 10 realtors. Not all of them are actually running a business. Some of them just have their real estate license and sell a couple homes a year, but that's fine. But so now we are at a point where home sales are gone way down. We are seeing way less homes just being sold in general, but we're still at that like super high of agents. However, we are starting to, and I think we will continue to see agents drop off because a lot of agents are not specialists. We are specialists, and our niche are people who have to buy for the most part, or they are going to buy. They're not just the average person who, yes, we do work with, the average person. We work with many different people, local people, whatever. But our main source of clientele is not just our, people we know, whatever they're buying or selling. Our main source of clients are people who are like, hey, I'm moving to your area because we are relocation specialists. Our main source of business is people who are saying like, hey, I'm moving here because my job is moving me, or my mom is sick and I want to live by. Like these are people who have to move or really want to move for a reason that is bigger than the interest rates or whatever. And so all of that to say, that's who we're seeing buying right now in this market is people who job changes, people who have to, or people who want to move to a different state and change their life and can make the numbers work with interest rates.
Yeah. And that's a big statement, Cotton. That was a good one, because when you're out,
It was a long little rant, but
when we are dealing with these type of clienteles, they're different type of peoples than say the average home seller just wanting to move, 20 minutes down the road to another house. The difference is these people are across state, they're across country at times, and they are realizing that our real estate market really is completely different than where they're currently in. And so our niche, I would say, that you were getting to really is a different perspective and attitude of people. Yeah. And that's
none
what's
of
been
them are
fun
really
about
saying
this.
anything about like, oh, I'm not going to buy right now. I'm going to wait because the interest rates, like they all want to be in Oregon and they're going to do what it takes. Now, yes, we have seen some drop off because who want to buy, but it's just like the numbers were cutting it close. And now that interest rates have gone up a little, they can't afford that payment. But generally there are people who, if they can make it work, they're going to, and they don't care about that. They want to invest here. Yeah.
Which is always kind of like, not stirred me crazy, but like in the real estate industry, 80-90% of your business is referral based. I mean, Mariah and I's business, it's not necessarily all that referral based. Even though if you're viewing this video and you guys are a Sphere family and you want to give us a referral, that would be amazing. That would really hype our numbers a little bit. But we've never truly relied on the referral business. Now, is follow-up important to us for our Sphere and Fast clients? Of course. But currently, the way we oprate and do business is dealing with out-of-state clients that we don't necessarily ever had or have a relationship with until previously until they are really interested in getting here to Oregon. Right. And that's been just so fun to me as a business model and a different way to structure a business that nobody else is doing. Yeah. So if you're interested in moving to Oregon, let us know. We're happy to help you. And we have systems in place that make that job possible and that transition possible for you. Yeah.
So that's a little bit of what we're seeing as far as like who is buying. Is there another demographic of who should buy right now?
Yeah, I mentioned in the beginning of the show downsizers. If you're into downsizing your home, maybe you're up there in age, maybe it's only you in the home. Empty nesters now is a big one. Doesn't mean you're downsizing to a tiny home or retirement facility by any means, but you're getting out of that 2,000 or even acreage property to do a different way of living, a standard, simple way of living. Yeah. Because the deal is, if you're letting your property run you, you're going to be unhappy. But ultimately, if this property is just so big you can't take care of, you're ruining an asset. Right. So when these assets are so high, like they are right now in our market, the appreciation is insane. You got tons of equity as a seller. Why not reach out to a realtor like ourselves and let us give you a free home evaluation. And that is what I've been seeing a lot of potential sellers, I should say, in our local markets do, is look and see what their home value is worth. If the numbers make sense, they're going to be selling in order to downsize to another home. And since their equity is so high, them downsizing to these smaller homes are going to cost less, right?
Yeah.
So their mortgages usually stay within the same, or even they buy out in cash and delete a mortgage all in one.
Now, another thing to mention is, okay, when we're talking about who should buy, who shouldn't buy, I know we talked about someone with a super low interest rate. And I think, like I said, everything is so circumstantial when deciding to buy a house or not to buy a house, or to move or not to move. Like, you got to do what's best for you and your family, and make sure the numbers make sense. And then it's probably a good idea, because like I always say, you can't time the market. Like, you're probably not going to do yourself a favor trying to do that. You're probably going to be better off just investing and starting to pay things down, and then continuing on, since you're paying to live somewhere anyway. But another type of person who maybe it would make sense to buy is, say you purchased a home and you've lived there for, however many years. Maybe you do have a lower interest rate, but you have so much equity in your house that you could use that equity to help with your down payment and buy down that interest rate a little. And maybe you won't be even making a ton of money or walking away with a ton, but you could maybe keep things similar or just a little bit higher of a payment or whatever. But if it makes sense, say your family is expanding and you need another bedroom or whatever, that looks like for you, it could make sense with your using your equity to be able to purchase something else. It just is so circumstantial.
So are you saying keep your current investment while purchasing another one?
No, I'm saying purchasing another one, and the reason that
After
you would
selling
the justification of, well, I don't want to get rid of my 3% interest rate, is you also bought it during a time where we had record levels of appreciation. Mm-hmm. You literally have all this money in your house that like you didn't deserve or earn. Go. It's like hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that's where the justification comes in. It's like, what's more important for you, keeping that interest rate or using that money to move to a different house? Like, it's all circumstantial, but that's a different way to look at the situation that I explained.
I don't think a lot of people are looking at it that way, as of like, I feel like we have this sense of entitlement.
Right. Like, you didn't earn that money. You literally just got a couple grand dropped into your house for owning it for a few years. Like, you didn't deserve that.
We kind of won the lottery in a lot of ways, because we are living in historical times over the last 5 years. Say you purchased within the last 2 to 5 years. Your equity is incredible. You have skyrocket appreciation over year. So for somebody to come in and tell me, for instance, when negotiating my listing commission, that I'm not worth that, it is a little hurtful. I know what I'm worth, and if you don't want to pay it, it is what it is. We didn't make a deal. But at the end of the day, you have to understand that the money you have currently in your home, you don't deserve.
Right.
You couldn't have predicted you getting $200,000 more out of your home than the 3 years you've lived in it.
Just for sitting there, not even improving. Just because there is so much equity in houses. It's true. People get entitled. It's weird.
They do. So, there's always two sides of one coin. I get it. And if numbers make sense, you need to have certain amounts out of your current investment in order to purchase that next property. Yeah. I understand that. Let me get you a data sheet, a estimated seller's net sheet is what I call them, and my title gal will send that to you, and if the numbers make sense, let's put a deal together.
Yeah. Okay. Well, really, we just wanted to share different ways of looking at the housing market, a few different perspectives, and I hope we were able to do that for you today. Feel free to comment below. Let us know what you think. Would you buy right now? Are you buying right now? Why or why not? We'd love to chat about that. And we do come on this channel, like Spencer said, every week and chat about real estate. So subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see you next week.